Back here to wrap things up here on Sun Devil Extra. Braiden Bell once again joined by Graham Rossini and a great segment, or a couple of segments I should say, on women's tennis. They are getting their season started, I should say, on Saturday.
Yep.
LMU and UC San Diego coming up. But you know, you got to kind of be around when Coach Jackson was brought in. Of course, one of your initial moves was bringing her in, and
Yep.
to hear, you know, someone like Sheila speak so highly of her. Pretty awesome to see those two working closely together.
Yeah, that's
I
exciting.
mean, how exciting is that to kind of see that program now taking a new era?
It's the best case scenario in my opinion. And I've known Sheila since I was 18 and stepped foot on campus. And so to think of a world where all these years later she's not leading the program, you got to have to stop and kind of really process that. Jamea is going to be amazing, and you know, kind of two legends in their own right. You know, obviously Sheila and what she did here for 40 years, the success that they had, and then Jamea and her own resume and what she's done competing at the highest level, and you know, all these mainstays in women's tennis right now, like she competed against and knows and learned from them. And so I'm excited for Sheila to pass the torch. I think it's the best case scenario when the next coach has access to the previous coach and the alumni network and the culture of the program, and she takes the attributes that have worked so well over time and then she puts her own stamp on it. But you know, as we just saw, like the dynamic there is going to be healthy and very helpful, and it's very exciting. And I'll scoop you with our Son for Life shout out.
Okay.
And tie it all together. Jackie Vasquez, softball national champion, celebrated her birthday over the weekend. Happy birthday, Jackie. We're excited for you. Can't wait to see you this spring. The weekend, my first weekend on the job was the same weekend that we hired Coach Jackson.
Sure.
And I was having a meal with some colleagues and my wife Allison, and then Jackie and her husband Dave were a part of it. And I had to excuse myself from lunch to get to campus for the interview. And Jackie was talking about how much of a tennis fan she's become and how much she's playing the game. And so those two have hit it off.
There
and
you
built
go.
a great relationship. We have a softball national champion and this tennis pro. And so we'll see Jackie at some tennis this spring as well. And, you know, sports, Sun Devils, supporting Sun Devils in all the ways that we can. And also our Sun Devil for Life shout out. So there we go.
This guy, he's such a pro. This is unbelievable what this guy does on a weekly basis. But yes, it is really cool to see those relationships. It really is a big family here. And I know every athletic department says that, but
it's important though. It's important that we foster that kind of relationship and nurture those every step we can. And then just, you love it when these unexpected relationships can be created like that. And I think it's the sign of a healthy department.
Speaking of a healthy department, being able to put on a ton of events at once, let's talk about last weekend, because you had the back-to-back for hockey, and then you also had a double-header day at DFA on Saturday with women's basketball and men's basketball, both playing Baylor. I mean, how big of a stress is that on the department to put on that many events? And it seemed like they all went off quite seamlessly. Big props to everyone involved with those events.
Yeah, it's more exciting than it is challenging. I think everybody embraces it as an opportunity to really show that, hey, we can do hard here.
Yeah.
And we embrace the chance to take on these busy days. And we have such an incredible, talented team within athletics, and that goes from our athletic operation and facilities, our sports information, our game production, our marketing, ticket sales and service, corporate partnerships, our broadcast, and many more. It's equipment room. I mean, just the amount of people that have to touch a day where you've got 2 different teams in one building, you've got other events going on adjacent to that. It's obviously a busy time of year, and so just really proud of the team and the effort to be able to pull off an event like that. And again, when you're welcoming in these different fan bases, it's all a chance to showcase where we live, our university, and I think everybody rises to the opportunity when we get those moments. Yeah,
and it was really cool, obviously, for the people coming in, but I think for Sun Devil fans as a whole, you could walk across straight to Mullet, come back to men's basketball. Cool. Women's basketball, of course, was happening. It was really fun.
It was fun.
And super convenient that everything is so close as well.
Yep.
Graham, I wanted to get your thoughts on something that is happening around college athletics, I should say, in the ever-changing world. Seems like every single day things are changing. There were some reports that Colorado, as well as some other schools, are kind of going away from their collectives. But what does the next calendar year look like in terms of the college landscape? I know there's that House ruling. I mean, you don't know the answer to that, I suppose, but in general, I mean, what does that look like for not only ASU, but the country as a whole? Yeah,
very fluid time for college athletics, but our commitment is that we're going to compete at the highest level, and we'll be relevant in all the ways that the industry is evolving and changing into. And I think change can be healthy. We're obviously in a period of a lot of disruption, a lot of moving parts. I'm actually, as I wrap today, I'm heading to the airport to fly to Nashville for the NCAA convention, and so that'll be a chance to really talk to the NCAA and get some more clarity on some of the changes coming at us. But yeah, there are some of these lawsuits that hopefully come to close in April. We know the rules will then change in July 1 as we go into roster caps and the removal of scholarship limits and increase athlete benefits as it navigates. So we're trying to stay real time close to the information and figure out how do we navigate that as we get more clarity and more information. So time will tell, but I do know that we're prepared to be competitive and commit to resource our athletes at the highest levels possible, and that's our charter and our charge moving forward.
We have one more segment, and then we'll get you off that flight. I don't want you to miss it. I don't want to be responsible for that. It is our Ask the AD segment. We had plenty of great submissions, and keep them rolling, because if we didn't get to your question this week, we might very well be able to get to it next week. By the way, sorry about the construction going on in the background.
Always, signs of progress.
Yes, we're building here in Tempe. It's wonderful. First question for you, Graham. It comes from @Will_Jasper24. He says, with most of the team/staff, he's referring to football, returning next year, what is the department's focus on maintaining the momentum from a fan experience standpoint? More fan-organized spaces outside the stadium, and then he says elite college sports atmospheres are the place and party to be at, inside and out of the venue. I know you agree with that part, of course.
Yeah, Scholium, shout out, great fan at so many events that we do, so appreciate the question. And yeah, I think it's a combination of what we've been trying to do this season, of continue to build an incredible game day, make these incremental adjustments season to season, week to week, month to month, where what a game day looks like is never the same. It only continues to get better. And we're lucky that we were able to retain the roster. We made some incredible additions to the football roster. Same goes for our coaching staff with most of that group coming back. We're committed to driving an incredible game day in all the ways that we can. So we're very active looking at concessions, tailgating, retail, access around the stadium, some new spaces that we can create both in the stadium and outside. We've got the Waste Management Open coming up in a few weeks, and so a number of our partners are also involved in that event. So we'll be there with eyes and ears wide open for ideas that could make sense to bring back in to Mountain America Stadium next fall. So stay tuned. We'll get through the spring as we're planning out, making some details, but we're very excited about some improvements that we can make to football game day, and we'll share those probably around the spring showcase, if not later in the spring. Even just like video features were improved this year, I thought already. Like the fourth quarter video leading into the quarter, people loved that. We've got some great stories to tell and great moments, and now with what happened this season, some really incredible moments to put a shine on. And so we've got to be better storytellers. We've got to create a better game experience, and we're focused on all that. One more for you, Graham. It comes from @Gonzo12RM. So thank you to Gonzo for submitting a question. It is, when does Graham anticipate the 25 football schedule release in terms of conference games? I'm assuming. Soon, yeah. We're expecting it at the end of January. So we hopefully are a few weeks away from getting that. We do know that we'll open against NAU. We've got Texas State coming in. We have a road game at Mississippi State. I'm expecting us to open conference on the road this year. So September 20th would be the first conference weekend. I am expecting us to be on the road, which is great, because then we're home away for those first 4 weeks when it's hot outside, and we know we've got 7 home games for the season. So with 5 Big 12 games at home, kind of getting into October, the weather's going to be great as we get into the conference slate. Really exciting season. 7 home games gives us that extra week to showcase, but if memory serves me correct, we've got West Virginia, Houston, Texas Tech, U of A, and maybe one other coming in home. So if my math's correct, I think there's one more out there. But really exciting home schedule, and season tickets are selling incredibly well, renewing new ones. So we're excited about that. But hopefully a few weeks away from the schedule, we'll make a big deal out of the schedule release when we get ready to do that. And exciting to be in January, but with this kind of anticipation for the fall and the start of football, we'll make sure that we celebrate that, and hopefully just a couple weeks now. We're looking to make this a weekly segment, Ask the AD. Graham loves hearing the questions, of course, and sounding off to Graham Rossini is always a fun quality. People on X. Do we get that right off the camera? Okay. We'll do the graphic. Well, we've worked out well with the one of these two hands, left hand, right hand. I don't know. It's the voice of Sean Crespin in the background. Sean Crespin will work his magic. He makes or edit this out. We don't know yet. Time will tell. Time will tell. But one thing we are certain of: this man needs to get to the airport. Off to Nashville he goes for some very important deals of business to come ahead. So Graham, thanks for joining us again today. A big shout out to the women's tennis program as well. An exciting week ahead, as always, here for Sun Devil Athletics. So for Graham Rossini, I'm Braiden Bell saying so long from Tempe, and we'll talk to you next week.